Welcome back everyone. We're going to be doing a just full-on comparison between the OnePlus 8 and the Samsung Galaxy S10e. Now there are some pretty big differences in between them, and obviously probably the biggest one is the size. As you can see, the S10e is noticeably smaller than the OnePlus 8, but when I put them in the hand, yeah, I can tell the OnePlus 8 is bigger, but it really isn't as crazy as you might expect, and I was expecting there to be a bigger difference between them. But the main thing to keep in mind is that the OnePlus 8 is the newer device, and I did have to pay, for some reason their $699 model is out, so I had to pay $799 for this one, so basically over $800. So whereas on the Galaxy S10e, I mean, I think I paid like $300 for this one, but you can pick them up on Amazon for about $340, which is still an extremely good deal, and that's like that's less than half of what this phone is, and it's not really like half the value in my opinion. So I'll leave both of these linked down below for the cheapest prices that I find, and I'll probably end up telling you I think the S10e has a lot going for it still. But starting off with the front, and I'll go and start off with the S10e because I always start off in liking talking about the older phones first. The S10e has a 5.8-inch dynamic AMOLED display. It is 1080p, and it's a really good looking display. I think even for a 1080p display, it looks really good. Really anything I've done with it, and every time I compared it to a phone, it has looked pretty good. The viewing angles are pretty okay too. The best thing about it is that it is that hole punch display, so just like the OnePlus 8s, you have that hole punch in the top right corner, which is really cool. So whether you like it or not, whether you want to do it or not, it's still there. I don't see why you want to not do it, but it's still a really cool thing, and it makes this phone feel that much more futuristic and that much more cooler. When you look at things like the Galaxy S20 and those ones, like, yeah, those ones are still better, but the S10e still has a lot going for it too when it comes down to that specific type of design. So the S10e's display is still great, and the fact that it has the hole punch display makes it that much better in my opinion, and it still feels really good too every time I do anything with it. Whereas on something like the OnePlus 8, we have a 6.55-inch fluid AMOLED display. It's a 1080p display too, and honestly between both, like, I don't think one is necessarily better in terms of the way they look. I still kind of think Samsung does a better job on their panels, but a really important thing to note is that the OnePlus 8 Pro does have that 90Hz refresh rate on that display, which is really awesome. That is something that I always love talking about and that I'll always love hitting on. And like I said, whether you use it or not, it's still there. You have the capability. The S10e does not have any type of capability like that, but basically what it is, it just like adds a little bit more, I guess, smoothness to the display. So if you go and open things, if you close things, it just makes the display look that much smoother, which is really cool. And you don't have that on the S10e necessarily. And another thing, I mean, when you consider that, you also have that hole punch display up top, so they kind of look the same when it comes down to the way they look, but I would still probably tell you, yeah, the OnePlus 8 probably has the better display when it comes down to it. On the bottom, they have USB Type-C ports. The S10e does have a headphone jack though, which is really cool, so if you wanted to do that, you have that capability. And on the back, you have a dual camera setup on the S10e, but a triple camera setup on the OnePlus 8. They both have IP certification too, but apparently the OnePlus 8 only has IP certification for the unlocked version or the non-unlocked version, which is weird, and I have the unlocked version, so I don't really understand what's going on with that, but they both should technically have IP68 dust and water resistance, so I guess there's that. A huge thing for the S10e is that it does have a microSD card slot, which is extremely cool. That's something that I love, and I hope Samsung never takes that away from their devices. That's probably one of the most important things that they have, so please, Samsung, do not take those out from your phones. But you have that capability on the S10e where you don't have that on the OnePlus 8. In terms of where they filmed the hand and everything, they both feel pretty much the same. The OnePlus 8 does have this matte texture on the back, which I think is really cool. The S10e has a standard glass back, and it really doesn't really matter too much. You're going to probably put a case on it, but I think I kind of like this matte texture. It makes you feel really cool. It's like kind of like rubbing your hand on ice a little bit. With the S10e's glass, it's kind of like the standard glass we already kind of know. So in terms of the outside, I think that really pretty much covers it up for the most part. Now hitting on the performance, actually before I hit on the performance, the software, the S10e is kind of in this weird dilemma where it's pretty much already out. It's going to be outdated within a year from now. It's halfway through its life cycle. It started off with Android 9. Right now it's on Android 10 on One UI 2. And it's probably going to get one more version of Android, and then that's really pretty much it. With the OnePlus 8, started off with Android 10 on OS 10, so it's going to be lasting for a fairly long amount of time. It's probably going to end on Android 13, which is several more years from now, which is really cool. So as of right now, they're still both supported, which is good. So if you get one over the other, you're still going to be getting software updates for the time being, probably for another year from now. But when it comes down to the OnePlus 8, it's going to be, outlasting the S10e for sure. So what I'll tell you is, when it comes down to the software, the OnePlus 8 is definitely the better phone for sure. And I am the one who likes Auction OS a lot. I think it's better than a lot of other Android versions out there, and I think Auction OS might just be better than stock Android. I just wish their wallpapers were a little bit better, including One UI. I mean, with One UI 2 with the Samsung Galaxy S20, those phones had the weirdest wallpapers ever. Hopefully they kind of improve those a little bit, but that pretty much covers it up in terms of the software standpoint. Now I'll go ahead and hit on the speed and do a little bit of a speed test between these. It's not going to be a crazy full in-depth one, but it'll give us a good idea which one is faster and everything like that. But I'll tell you the specs first. The S10e has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chipset, an octa-core CPU, an Adreno 640 GPU, and 6 gigs of RAM on that base model and 8 gigs of RAM on that top tier model, whereas on my OnePlus 8, I have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chipset, an octa-core CPU, an Adreno 650 GPU, and 8 gigs RAM on that base model, and 12 gigs of RAM on that top tier model. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between both of these. Let's do the Play Store. 3, 2, 1. And definitely the OnePlus 8 was faster there. Let's scroll through, and they both kind of look the same, honestly. I was expecting OnePlus 8 to be smoother, but definitely the OnePlus 8 was faster there. I have a bunch of these third-party apps that I can probably just go and start downloading on this page. Let's do Temple Run 2. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I randomly just went away, so I might have just skipped frames there. Let's do Dune. 3, 2, 1. And there we go. Paper Out 2. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Okay, let's get into some gameplay and see which one is faster. And one probably won't be way faster than the other one. It kind of looks like the S10e is a little bit smoother in my opinion, but they're both kind of the same there. Snake vs. Blocks. 3, 2, 1. And definitely the OnePlus 8 was slightly faster, not a crazy amount, but it was just a little bit faster there. Stack. 3, 2, 1. And a little bit of a pop-up here, but to get into the ad, it was still faster on the OnePlus 8. Fruit Ninja. 3, 2, 1. And even then, I mean, to even get on both of these apps on this phone were a little bit kind of glitchy here and there. And the OnePlus 8 was definitely faster, followed by the S10e a little bit after. Bofa. 3, 2, 1. And the OnePlus 8 faster, S10e a little bit behind. Facebook. 3, 2, 1. And OnePlus 8 definitely faster there. Let's do Doodle Jump, which I do not have. Oh, I do. 3, 2, 1. That one was a little bit tough. They both were on two different kind of things a little bit. Snapchat. 3, 2, 1. OnePlus 8 faster. Twitter. 3, 2, 1. I think I've already done this. Nope. OnePlus 8 a little bit faster. And we can just go ahead and end it off with Real Racing 3. 3, 2, 1. Now hopefully I don't have to download on either of these phones because that's going to be really annoying. And I don't think so. And on the OnePlus 8, it's faster. And the S10e I think is going to be a little bit behind. As you can see, the S10e was noticeably behind. And for sure at the end of the day, the OnePlus 8 I think is the faster phone for sure. It's definitely not like the craziest thing in the world, but there is some pretty big differences between them for sure. So in terms of performance, I'll probably end up setting with the Galaxy S10e at the end of the day. Now, just like the speed comparison, I'll do a full camera comparison at some point. I don't probably know when I'm going to do it, if you guys even want to see it, but I'll briefly hit on them in this video. The S10e has a dual camera setup, the OnePlus 8 has a triple camera setup, and we have a 12 megapixel wide angle lens and then a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor on the S10e. On the OnePlus 8 we have a 48 megapixel wide angle lens, 16 megapixel telephoto lens, ultra wide sensor, and then a 2 megapixel macro lens. And in terms of the quality, I mean, I think the OnePlus 8 camera quality is really good, but I think the Galaxy S10e is probably the better one between both of them. You can do 4K at 60 on both, which is really cool, but I would still probably end up setting with the Samsung Galaxy S10e. I feel like the quality is better. They both kind of have the same camera features at the end of the day, so there's not like one is the way better camera featured phone, but I would probably still end up setting with the Samsung Galaxy S10e. I feel like the quality of the photos and videos look much better and brighter, which is something I really do like, and sometimes they look sharper too, so the S10e photos I think are better. On the front, 10 megapixel sensor on the S10e, 16 megapixel sensor on the OnePlus 8, and even here, I mean, I would probably end up setting with the S10e. You can do 4K at 30 on this front camera, or you can only do 1080p on the OnePlus 8's front camera, so I'd probably end up setting with the Galaxy S10e at the end of the day. Now I'll hit on the battery life too. The Samsung Galaxy S10e has a 3100 mAh battery, the OnePlus 8 has a 4300 mAh battery. They both can do wireless charging, which is really cool. The Galaxy S10e does have reverse wireless charging, which is extremely awesome. What I can tell you about the battery is that the S10e, it has a pretty good battery life, but I feel like the OnePlus 8's battery life is a little bit better. It has that bigger size battery by a lot, so I'd probably end up setting with the OnePlus 8 for sure at the end of the day. And honestly, to kind of sum up the comparison, dude, should you pick up the OnePlus 8, should you pick up the S10e, yada yada yada, I'll probably end up telling you, man, I would probably end up picking up the OnePlus 8. It's the better phone. It has so many more features. There's so many cool little things with it here and there. It's going to be getting more software support. I feel like the 90Hz refresh rate is really cool. But the S10e still has a lot going for it too. It still has that, great camera sensors, the reverse wireless charging, pretty good performing phone. The software is good if you guys like it. The headphone jack, micro SD card slot as well. So there's a lot going for both phones, but at the end of the day, I'd probably end up setting with the OnePlus 8 and recommend this to more people than the Galaxy S10e. So that really pretty much covers it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys would check it out. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.